All right, number 8 on the derivative mastery test. And sometimes, right, on the other versions, the order might change, but roughly the same idea. Product rule, quotient rule, they're all in there somewhere. Is the first one where we have, or the only one, I suppose, in here, where we have chain rule in chain rule. All right, so first thing, when we have a square root, probably a good idea to rewrite it as something to the 1/2. Also makes it more obvious, right? This is all under the square root, so it's all to the 1/2. How we end up with the chain rule in chain rule. So we have something to the 1/2. So all of this green function is inside of the square root. And then you notice here, this part is inside the to the third part. All right, so if we look at the whole thing, the outside, or derivative of the outside, is something to the 1/2, is 1/2, something to the negative 1/2. So our normal power rule, multiply out front, subtract 1 off the exponent. And then don't forget that when you do that, we don't change the inside at all. So we're just copying this all down. But then we have to do times the derivative of the inside. So derivative of all this green stuff. So maybe we'll go easy to hard here. So the derivative of 3x squared is 6x. And the derivative of -5 is 0 because it's a constant. And so then this one also requires chain rule. But if we're looking on the outside piece, we can say this is something to the third, which is 3 something squared. So notice we didn't touch the inside yet. And then times derivative of the inside on that one, derivative of 2x minus 4 is 2. So this little piece had chain rule. You can also break it into individual pieces if that's hard to follow. Sometimes people are just trying to give you what's the shortest thing, because by the time of the derivative mastery, it's not your first rodeo here. So we can clean this up a little bit. This is 6 up here on the top, right? 3 times 2, we can combine that. So 2x minus 4 squared plus 6x. And then the negative 1/2 means that that whole square root is on the bottom, with our original inside that we haven't changed. And the times 1/2 is like this, which you can just treat it like the 2 is on the bottom. If you want to, this has a factor of 6 and this one does too. So you can stop here and call this the answer. If you notice that this is really quick to simplify just a little, you could divide everything by 2. So either one of these answers, perfectly acceptable for number 8. All right, last 2. Number 9 asks you to take the derivative. And then it says find g prime of 7. So it isn't just asking you to take the derivative, it's also asking you to plug in the number 7 after you do. But still, the first step would be take the derivative, so we want g prime of x. Might want to rewrite first. Same thing, every time there is a square root, that means to the 1/2. Makes it easier to do power rule when you can see the powers. So the derivative is 1/2 to the negative 1/2. So there's our derivative of the outside, times derivative of the inside. Derivative of 3x minus 5 is just 3. And then if I wanted to clean this up a little bit, that's 3 times, this is on the bottom, so 2 over square root of 3x minus 5. Negative exponent means the reciprocal. The square root, the 1/2 exponent means square root. All right, so then if I want to take that function and plug 7 into it, that just means where there used to be an x, we're going to put the number 7. And then we can just simplify. So 3 over 2, this is 21 minus 5, so square root is 16. So 3 over 2 times 4 is 3 over 8. And then summarize what we got. G prime of 7 is 3 over 8. And then the very last problem on this gives us the equation of, looks like a parabola. And I say that to just emphasize what we're trying to do here. It says give the equation of the line tangent to this at the point 2, -2. So we're thinking about our final answer here. They're asking for the equation of a line. So we want something that looks like this. We want a line that has the same slope as this function at this point and goes through that point. All right, so very first thing is, what does the derivative mean? So whether we call it y prime or whether we call it dy dx, the derivative, x squared and minus 3x, the derivative is a function where we plug in points and it tells us the slope at that point. So if I want to know the slope at this point, I want to plug in x is 2. So 2 times 2 minus 3 gives us 1. Sometimes not a bad idea, maybe even at that point, to just call it m equals 1 to remind yourself, hey, you just found the slope of that function at that point. So 1x. And now we can just plug into this equation to figure out what the y-intercept is. So our equation looks like y equals 1x plus b. And we have this xy point we can plug in. So we'll make y -2 when x is 2. Subtract 2 from both sides, we get b is -4. And so now we've solved the whole mystery of what does our equation of the tangent line look like? It appears to be y equals 1x minus 4. So notice you're only using the derivative to get the slope. Just be careful in this one. I know the derivative itself is a line because, this was started out degree 2, so this one ended up degree 1. It's not the line that we're looking for. These are not the droids you're looking for. So there's your tangent line. And there's the derivative mastery test, all 10 questions.